Hello, it's Nemesis Nick here. I'm a keen fan of the Eurovision Song Contest. It's time to talk Eurovision. The semi-final allocation draw for the Eurovision Song Contest 2024 took place in Malmö City Hall, Malmö, yesterday evening. I watched the draw on YouTube live. It started at 1800 GMT last night. During the handover of the keys, I noticed that the Liverpool 2023 insignia, which I saw in a photo online earlier yesterday, had already been added to the keyring, which itself was on a stand. At least they had a handshake to officially mark the moment the Eurovision Song Contest passed from Liverpool to Malmö. By the way, due to the handover from Liverpool to Malmö, that's why I'm wearing a Liverpool Football Club shirt today. As far as I know, this year's semi-finals will be based solely on televoting, just like last year. Juries will still vote in the semi-finals, but their scores will only be used if a country cannot provide a valid public vote result for whatever reason. There will also be an additional rest of the world vote in each semi-final, which counts as one extra set of 1 to 8, 10, 12 points, effectively one extra pseudo country. There were just 5 pots, just like last year. On several occasions in the past, there were 6 pots. No explanation has been given as to why there were only 5 pots this year, but presumably 6 pots would have been too many with just 31 countries to be split into 2 semi-finals. This is how the 31 countries were split into the 2 semi-finals. Firstly, the first semi-final, which will take place on Tuesday the 7th of May 2024. The first half of the first half in the first half we got Ukraine, Cyprus, Poland, Serbia, Lithuania, Croatia and Ireland. And then in the second half we got Slovenia, Iceland, Finland, Portugal, Luxembourg, Australia, Azerbaijan and Moldova. The automatic qualifiers voting during the first semi-final are 2 of the big 5 countries, Germany and United Kingdom, plus this year's host country, Sweden. Okay, only 3 former Yugoslav countries, Croatia, Serbia and Slovenia, are taking part this year, and all of 3 of them have been drawn into the same semi-final. Some may feel that's unfair, that all 3 of them are in one semi-final, and that the whole idea of pots was to prevent situations like this. Croatia, Serbia and Slovenia were all allocated to pot 1, along with Albania, Austria and Switzerland. It's just the way the draw has gone. Those 6 countries were in pot 1, and by random chance the 3 former Yugoslav countries, Croatia, Serbia and Slovenia, all ended up in the first semi-final, whereas the remaining 3 pot 1 countries, Albania, Austria and Switzerland, all ended up in the second semi-final. Obviously this does mean that Croatia, Serbia and Slovenia could end up giving each other 10 and 12 points in the first semi-final, but that said, the ex-Yugoslav countries don't necessarily give their highest points to each other. 2 of the 5 Nordic countries, Iceland and Finland, have also been drawn to participate in the second half of the first semi-final. The host country, Sweden, which is also a Nordic country, also votes but doesn't participate in this semi-final. The upshot of this is that Iceland and Finland could give each other 12 points, whereas Sweden could give their 10 and 12 points to Iceland and Finland. Lithuania is the only Baltic country in this semi-final, so it won't be able to receive points from Estonia or Latvia, which are in the other semi-final. However, Baltic countries have been known to favour Finland and vice versa, so Finland and Lithuania could give high scores to each other. Luxembourg, for whom this is their first Eurovision Song Contest participation since 1993, is the only Benelux country that has been drawn into this semi-final. The upshot of this is that the other two Benelux countries, Belgium and the Netherlands, won't be able to give any points to Luxembourg in this semi-final. The United Kingdom, which is automatically qualified for the grand final, has been drawn to vote in this semi-final. The upshot of this is the United Kingdom could give 12 points to Ireland, which has been drawn to participate in the first half of this semi-final. The United Kingdom has also been known to favour Poland and Lithuania, both of which have also been drawn to perform in the first half of the first semi-final. Moving on now to the second semi-final, which will take place on Thursday the 9th of May. In the first half of this semi-final, we got Austria, Malta, Switzerland, Greece, Czechia, Albania, Denmark and Armenia. And then in the second half, Israel, Estonia, Georgia, Netherlands, Norway, Latvia, San Marino and Belgium. And the big five countries voting in the second semi-final are France, Italy and Spain. By the way, as was said during the draw, Israel was in agreement with the Eurovision reference group. Israel was put straight into the second semi-final due to a Memorial Day being on the date of the first semi-final. But there's still we saw them draw which half Israel performed in. So it was fair. There was a justified reason for putting Israel deliberately into a second semi-final. 2 of the 5 Nordic countries, Denmark and Norway, perform in this semi-final, so they could give each other 12 points. 2 of the 3 Baltic countries, Estonia and Latvia, perform in the second half of this semi-final. They could give each other 12 points. 2 of the 3 Benelux countries, Belgium and the Netherlands, perform in the second half of this semi-final, so they could give each other 12 points. That said, these 2 countries don't necessarily vote for each other when they have the chance to. Austria, Czechia and Switzerland are Central European countries. They could favour each other, but from my analysis of recent years, it's difficult to spot trends among the Central European countries, unlike the Nordic, Baltic and ex-Yugoslav countries. Other. Well, I've said enough about countries that are together. Now, let's move on to countries that are that, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your opinion, have been put into separate semi-finals. Cyprus is in the first semi-final, whereas Greece is in the second semi-final, so they won't be able to give each other any points in the semi-finals. Portugal is in the first semi-final, whereas Spain votes in the second semi-final. Thus, Spain won't be able to vote for Portugal during the semi-finals. On a different note, Armenia and Azerbaijan are in separate semi-finals, just like last year. I've looked at their detailed voting results for the Eurovision Song Contest 2017 Grand Final, having seen them on a previous occasion. Enough said. There you have it. That's how the 31 semi-finalist countries have been split into the 2 semi-finals and which half of each semi-final. The exact running order of each half of each semi-final will be determined at a later date, presumably once all countries have chosen their songs. The order in which I read out the countries in each half of the semi-final, that's the order in which they were drawn. That is not the actual running order. Do you think the way in which the 31 semi-finalist countries have been split between the 2 semi-finals is fair? If you could change which countries have been added, what swaps would you make and why? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you liked this video, remember to hit the like button, and if you're liking all my Eurovision videos, remember to subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, you'll never walk alone. Goodbye, da boch, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, adios, arrivederci, do widzenia, do pobacenia, adieu.